one of the first few things I wanted to do here is just clear up some common myths around manual testing. First of all, I'd like to talk about manual testing and clear some of the myths within the industry. Software testing, some manual testing like user acceptance testing will always be a critical practice to find and fix bugs for software, right? It is valuable user acceptance testing to act as the customer's advocate in order to assess quality and responsiveness, and even to an extent user experience, especially for exploratory testing of new features, right? There's no method that can replace a human's curiosity in determining whether bugs might be laying in wait. But the thing is, in today's industry, as a manual tester, you no longer have the luxury of a 2-week testing window, which was commonplace before. Now we are facing windows of sometimes just 2 hours. Conventionally, most testing could have been done manually since there were only a few devices and browsers that needed to be tested. But fast forward to today, and it's multiple mobile devices on different operating systems and a plethora of other apps and browsers, right? So that leads me on to the second part, which is why automation can fix these problems. This is a question that I'm always asked when my team and I go to a new business or a new company and speaking to a CTO or an executive on their DevOps or automation strategy. And this is so common, but how I answer these questions is agile in today's industry. One reason for the conversion from manual to automation is the recent shift. Agile in today's industry, right? One reason for the conversion from manual to automation is the recent shift from waterfall to agile development, right? While waterfall is an non-iterative and sequential design process, the newer incremental approach, termed agile, allows for more flexibility, feedback, and testing throughout the software development process and the software development lifecycle. This is because an agile strategy caters to changing requirements throughout the development process by having team members integrate their work frequently and communicate more often with customers, business owners, and designers. However, this process of continuous integration and delivery always demands continuous testing. As the software testing industry continues to grow, test automation will become vital in development. With the rise of DevOps and agile businesses want fast test executions with little to no human interaction, right? What I will say in augmenting manual with automation, though, through parallel and regression tests on consistently updated or large projects, big projects, is what will save you time, money, and frustration in the software development lifecycle, while increasing effectiveness, efficiency, and coverage of tests for your application. Moreover, as testing teams explores and practices automation, I believe its specific uses for organizations will become even more distinct over time. Automation gives that continuous flow, right? When connecting to development pipelines across the businesses and environments. What needs to be automated? Another one of the main questions I get asked, right? Because you look at a manual project with manual test cases in there, and there's just so much for an automation engineer to come in now, or for you training to become an automation engineer. You need to be able to look at these tests and take out the ones that you know will give your business or your company or your employer the biggest and most value. The need to start automating will become increasingly apparent to developers who are committing code often and testers who are working to ship quickly on a stable product. A team following Agile will realize the need to implement automation starting from the unit level and working through to the GUI layer. More plenty, though automation truly become necessary when you need to start repeating tests more than once. When you feel like you are repeating a test over and over on a daily, weekly, or even monthly basis, it may be time to start to look at automating. I believe you will improve your overall testing ROI, return on investment, in time and money by investing in this. Prioritizing your test cases. Meanwhile, manual testers can begin to focus on prioritizing which tests should be automated, writing simple automation tests and simple automation solutions, executing them, and evaluating the results as they get up to speed with a framework like Catalan Studio, right? So Catalan Studio gives you that flexibility to be able to start from a low level, from a non-technical level. And naturally, you can evolve with the application to manually creating tests, to scripting if you choose to. And you're comfortable with the code that you're looking at. But it always gives you that flexibility. And I believe that's one of the things that really captures a lot of businesses, organizations, and teams when it comes to Catalan Studio. How to choose the right solution for your projects. What I will say with this is maintaining the quality of an application by delivering a bug-free product is crucial for the success of any project, right? Automating testing can help improve the quality of a project and increase scope and depth of the tests. For this to get a deep understanding of your project requires such as project type, web, desktop, mobile, scope of the project, and existing teams' technological strengths before you start a process. There is no such tool that is good or bad, but the ROI of any tool relies on the need. Example, what precisely does one need to automate and what amount of test cases needs automating, right? In most teams, Selenium, as we all know, test automation tool is usually the go-to to benchmark and evaluate and determine the best automation tool for the project. The advantages and disadvantages of Selenium Webdriver framework need to be understood before evaluating other tools. And in my experience, especially over the years, automation is looked as something that only developers can do. I'll go into businesses and that's the first thing I will be told. It's so much coding, so much boilerplate code. And I always highlight the same thing. I said in Selenium's infancy, that was the process, yes. But now new tools are coming out, tools like Catalan Studio, that could change the way we all automate and give us our time back. And testers could be utilized in other areas. And I'll explain a bit more of that later on in the presentation, but that's one of the things that we all need to keep in mind around automation, because it's tough. When you look at quantifying the value sometimes with automation testing, because as an automation engineer, I know some of you on the call will probably relate to this. We find issues and bugs before it reaches production. So sometimes it almost isn't seen what is exactly being done and captured. And I think the reporting system in Catalan Studio really reflects how beneficial having those type of metrics can be to you and your business, right? There are many key points one should consider before deciding the best fit automation tool for a project. A quick list of a few key criteria that is usually used to evaluate the best tools is things like ease of developing and maintaining test scripts, ease of test execution for non-technical users, a bit of what I was saying earlier, right? Support to web, desktop, mobile applications. What exactly do your team need? And I would say an intuitive test reporting system. One of the most important parts of it is the reporting system, because this is used, as I mentioned earlier, internally and externally, right? So we need to get something that we'll be able to show exactly what we are doing, and it's in a palatable way, where for internally it works perfectly, all the technical engineers could understand it, and externally, or for executives who maybe isn't as technical as we might be, for them to be able to read and understand this as well. Because in the past, I've seen that being an issue, pushing reports up the management chain, and it reached a point where the language mightn't be understood or something like that. And I think Catalan's reporting system is really, really beneficial when we come to aspects like that. Value to manual QAs and automation beginners. Fully manual testing transition. The most difficult transition you will likely be for testers who have been performing fully manual tests, right? Conventionally, these testers would have needed to be trained to acquire at least basic knowledge of coding. But with Catalan Studio, this is not required to get started. Automation concepts, as well as understanding of the different automation tools and their purposes, are also useful knowledge at this time. If the team is starting from scratch with no automation experts whatsoever, this process might take a little while, and you'll probably need to bring some experienced testers or architects and engineers if you're a bigger company. These additions will be an asset as thought leaders when it comes time to choosing automation solutions for a specific project. Using Catalan, though, one can create and execute test cases, and with time and more experience, start to build out things like continuous integration, continuous development within the software development lifecycle, right? Also get comprehensive reporting, as we mentioned earlier, that could be shared both internally and externally for your organization, and a whole host of other built-in useful features that will be demonstrated a bit later on in the program. The test automation my team and I have done for customers over the years have saved weeks of manual testing on each regression cycle. In fact, some regression life cycles have been cut by half, by 50%, if not more. That not only saves meaningful dollars, but frees up staff to work on higher valued activities. It also catches product issues earlier versus manual testing, reducing overall development time, getting products to market sooner. When it comes to minimizing the maintenance effort, this is something that I always kind of preach from the rooftops. In my experience, one of the simplest factors that tend to get overlooked in automation is maintenance. I still actively work in the software testing and automation industry, right, guys? And just a couple of weeks ago, I was having a discussion with a CTO, a chief technical officer, and I was explaining this CTO is for a international finance company, right? And I was telling him the importance of maintenance and how it's key when selecting a tool for their automation efforts. And in my opinion, this is where Catalan Studio really sets itself apart from the rest. Maintenance is simple, and with new features like automatic healing, it makes these test scripts even more robust. When it comes to maintenance, it's forgotten most of the times. I've worked with so many people who will get test scripts written. You would get these huge frameworks and all this code written, and within a few weeks or a few months, the code is stale just because it haven't been updated. Developers work every single day. They create new code every day, so it's something that we all have to always keep in mind to try to keep on top of maintaining our code as our application evolves daily, really. As we all know, getting the right reports and test result analytics are crucial within software testing, especially automation, right? Our businesses rely on getting the correct stats and figures to give our customers confidence in our product and keeping an eye on overall quality. In my experience over the years, having the right reporting system can make or break the automation process within a company. That's why, unlike Selenium, Catalan Studio provides testing, analysis, and reports. As I mentioned earlier, this model of Catalan Studio shows test results and maintains the history. And one of the features that I particularly like for me and for my team is prioritizing of testing areas, right? Highlighting like the most critical parts and or problem areas within an application. These are things that need to be spotted early as possible, because as the saying goes in automation, which, as we all know, the earlier you find a bug or issue, the lower the cost to fix the issue or bug. within automation and with agile, they say fail fast, fail early. So you just have to look for these issues, highlight them, and get them sorted as soon as possible. I will hand it back to Young to give us a little demo.